So just a couple of days ago, I reported to you guys that there appears to be some beef going on between Spotify and Joe Rogan. Obviously, Joe Rogan signed to Spotify with a massive $100 multi-year deal for his podcast that almost immediately paid off, as seeing that the Spotify stock had basically skyrocketed as a result. So they already made their money back. But basically, some of the employees at Spotify are they're mad at Joe Rogan. They dislike some of his content that they claim is transphobic. And so basically what was going on that I reported to you guys was those employees were complaining to the CEO, Daniel Ek, which so it's going all the way up there. Now the new update, it says that Spotify employees demanding direct editorial oversight over Joe Rogan podcasts before they're published. It says a group of Spotify staffers are now reportedly pushing to introduce direct editing oversight over the Joe Rogan Experience before the episodes go live. That includes content flags, trigger warnings, references to fact-checked information, or simply refusing to publish an episode at all. So it says the demands follow a string of controversial comments by Joe Rogan, who is lured to Spotify in a massive $100 million deal. Rogan's appeal to millions of listeners is his unfiltered and irreverent approach, though that style isn't sitting well with an activist group of Spotify staffers who say he needs to be reined in. And so it also mentions, and I covered this as well, that Spotify straight up removed like over 10 of the podcasts that he had with people like Alex Jones, Milo Yiannopoulos, Gavin McInnes, very sort of shady right-wing figures, essentially. What it says is, but despite the glaring omissions, Spotify staffers are now stepping up their demands to control more of Rogan's content. Vice first reported that Spotify employees have conducted more than 10 meetings to discuss possible changes. Those discussions included proposals for the outright removal of additional podcast episodes. Of particular focus in an earlier conversation featuring author Abigail Schreier, who wrote Irreversible Damage, the transgender craze seducing our daughters. It says, now Digital Music News has learned that the protesting employee group is stepping up its demands to control Rogan's work. Part of the rationale is that Spotify already exerts control over content like playlists, even those created by outside curators. So why not extend that oversight to podcasts as well? And it also goes on here to basically mention, it says, this has reportedly gone all the way to the top, though Spotify CEO Daniel Ek appears to be pushing back. From a business standpoint, the reason is fairly obvious. Rogan's audience like his direct, unedited style and could quickly abandon the comedian podcaster if he's edited. And then what it also mentions here, which is something that I had mentioned, was I also did a video about Joe Rogan where he made the comment about Antifa supposedly setting fires in Oregon, which was really hilariously untrue and completely unfounded, in fact. And in unusual fashion, he actually came out and apologized. And so what I was thinking was, did he do this on his own? Did Spotify pressure him to do it? Or does he already know what's going on at Spotify, and so he did that to try to get ahead of the whole thing? And so it seems significant enough to the point where they mention this in this article. So what's interesting is if this happens, this is censorship to the absolute peak, folks. That's what this is. So one of the defenses for him going to Spotify in exchange for that $100 million was that, YouTube is censoring him. He can't have on certain COVID guests and all of this stuff. And so it's hilarious because Spotify is far more censored when he goes there. He had to have seen this coming. I know he had seen this coming. Anybody with two brain cells to rub together could have seen this coming. Spotify should have known, and I think that they did know, just how, controversial Joe Rogan is going to be. And the fact that they seemingly didn't care, didn't do their homework, I guess because the stock price went up so much, it was worth it anyways. But this is going to definitely come to a conflict soon, a heavy conflict, because Joe Rogan really had a lot of freedom on YouTube. He was still making a lot of money. It's not like the dude was broke or like he was middle class. Dude was rich, super rich. So he was chilling, but he wanted that $100 million bag. He was willing to sell out, willing to get censored, willing to have certain podcast episodes removed, willing to subject himself to this kind of stuff. So Joe Rogan is a sellout. Spotify also doing some kind of weak decision making. But they're going to have to figure out, okay, what are we going to do here? You know, are we going to give in to the demands? You know what I mean? Because once you lose a lot of Joe Rogan's appeal to viewers is his sort of off the cuff, off the riff, shock value type of stuff. That's just who Joe Rogan is. It kind of makes him unique from other podcasts, other shows, other entities, other entertainment forms, all these various things. So it kind of loses its value if that happens. So he's very he's very dependent upon that to exist. And as soon as that happens, it's over. There's already conservative fans of Joe Rogan who are rightfully turning on him, saying, "Hey, dude, you're a sellout. Look, you took this bag to go get censored when you knew this was going to happen. You don't really care about free speech. It's all about money." That's the way I look at it, too, by the way. Joe Rogan seems to just care about money. I guess that's all he gives a shit about, period, because he's willing to completely just take away all of his morals and principles, if he had any in the first place, in exchange for money, when he already had a bunch of it. So he's looking like a clown and a sellout. Spotify's looking kind of dumb. But, I mean, it made them a lot of money already, right? But let me know what you guys think about this, what's going to happen, because this is pretty crazy.